everybody. So nice. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you all had a great day. We on the East Coast, we had a glorious day today. The colors are all out. It's really, I was driving down the road and I was saying, oh, God, I am so blessed of living in such a beautiful area. I hope all of you live in a beautiful area and in a nice area that you enjoy and see also. You know, sometimes when we live through the day and we run from here to there and have 20,000 errands and things to do and things on our mind, we often don't see the real beauty around us. And that is one of the things that is very important for healthy living, you know. Especially, you know, when you see animals, they do see things and they take in things. We can learn from that. Somebody asked me one time, well, what do you think makes, you know, makes a good life, or what do you think lets you stay healthy and young like you are? And I said, well, there are really very few things that you really need. One of them is joy in your heart every day, and see that you give some love every day. And if you're an animal owner, well, then you for sure do that, because that's what animals are for. What else do we have them for, right? Maybe they alert us when they bark, but otherwise, we know that other than a big German Shepherd or any other big animal is not going to be that great as protection. But it is known that we live better and longer if we have animals to pet. People with heart disease, many doctors recommend, you know, get yourself a cat or get yourself a small dog. It'll bring down the blood pressure much better than, you know, anything else. So, so that's what I did today. After I had my ride on my beautiful horse, I went and rushed into town and did all kinds of errands. And while I was driving down, I saw the leaves falling down, and it was just gorgeous. It was one of those days, Indian summer day, that I wish I could bottle and keep it in the winter when it's freezing and when we're saying, oh my goodness, this is too long. But in any event, that was my day. And I hope you had an equally beautiful day. But today what we want to talk about, last time when I left you, we talked about homeopathy. Well, this show is not just about homeopathy. It happens to be that I'm a classical homeopath. But I have had training in natural health for people and pets. And I have training in nutrition and herbal medicine. But homeopathy has a special place in my heart. And I have a special passion for it because I see that it works every time that I use it. It always works when you select the right remedy. And for that, in order to do that, it takes a long time to learn. I must admit that. I've been doing this for 10 years. And just now I'm starting to get consistent results. Before it was a little bit of a hit and miss. It is not like allopathy. You know, take 2 aspirin and it will heal your headache. Well, homeopathy is not quite like that because it is for every organism a little different. And you have to take all of that into account. But throughout the show, and from here on, every Friday, I will give you more information and more information. And by the time that next year runs around, you will all be out there and doing your own thing and keeping your animals healthy. So let's talk today about how homeopathy is made.
Gisela, before you start, Juliet,
Yes.
Julie is asking, uh, she said, have a cat that will sometimes poop outside the litter box, not spray. I think it is emotional issue, but we have a vet tell us that he could have not been trained properly.
No, 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 no,
She
no.
said, any recommendations for homeopathy when he doesn't use the litter box?
No, sweetheart, no, no. Uh, Here's the thing with cats. We know they train us. We don't train them. Cats, you don't train. Uh, so that vet is not really a cat person. If you have had cats, like I've had cats all my life, um, now a cat will poop outside the litter box for two reasons. One, she is really PO'd at you. Then she will also go, um, or he, will go and um, leave your present on the rug or on your bed. Then they are really upset with you. But 99% of the time, it is because the litter is not right. Try different litters, or the litter box is not big enough. If it's a big cat and if it's a regular size litter box, then it doesn't have any room. So the butt hangs outside. Um, those are the reasons why a cat will poop outside the litter box, not inside. If the cat goes to the litter box and the front paws are in the litter box and everything else is outside and it poops, then it doesn't like the litter box. And there's no homeopathic remedy for that. You just have to change litter. And sometimes it takes 5 or 6 different litters if you have a particularly finicky cat. Some cats are very, very finicky. Try that and you'll see that it'll work. There's no medicine for that, okay? Any other callers? Hello? Okay, I'm just going to keep on going. And I hope that answered your question. And if it doesn't work, call in another time and I will give you maybe some other suggestions. But I'm almost sure that will fix the problem.
Julie just added, she said, thank you. Still new cat mommy. I think he does
Oh,
it.
there you go.
She said, I think he
You'll
does it.
learn. That cat will train you.
She said, I think he does it when he's angry for sure.
Yeah. Sometimes, but we give our animals a little bit too many credits for emotions. That does not mean that they don't have emotions. So don't misunderstand that. But what we often do is we give our animals, cats and dogs, we treat them like human children. They are not. They're not human children. They are animal children. You have to understand and you have to learn your cat too. That cat will teach you, and that cat will teach you everything about what it likes, what it doesn't like, what foods it likes, what foods it doesn't like. I have one cat that I rescued from this big. That cat was like 3 weeks old, and it was almost dead. And I rescued it, and it is now ruling the house because she was from the beginning. She was constantly spoiled. She was always a little, she was a weaker one, and she was a baby, and she was just like human children. The last one is always the one who is the most ornery and the one that you have the most problem with. The middle one is usually the best. So you'll learn. You'll learn. That cat will teach you all its likes and dislikes. Yes.
That's it.
Okay, great. So let's go. And now I'm going to make this short because this is not a homeopathy training course. Okay, I just want you to understand what homeopathy is, so that when you go and see in Whole Foods or in a natural health food store, you see these homeopathic remedies. They're usually called Byron, and they are blue and white. And there it says 6C on there, and 9C on there, and 30C on there. And so I want you to understand what that is and why that is so. Okay? My remedies come from a pharmacy in India, because India has the largest homeopathy population. I would say about 45% of all doctors in India know about homeopathy, and about 50% of doctors in India have had a side of homeopathy. They are homeopathy doctors, really, and they treat exclusively with homeopathy. These little remedies come from there because I find them to be most effective. And I don't know if you guys can see that, but see, they are little tiny pills. Okay? And these pills are made, if you ever have used homeopathy, these little pills, they're usually very sweet because they're made in a sugar base. Why in a sugar base? It's because sugar, when you take it sublingual, dissolves the quickest and gets the fastest into the bloodstream. The numbers on these little remedies mean different potencies, and they go from 3 to 6 to 12 to 30 and up and 200 and so on. And I use for long-term or for chronic problems, I use an LM potency, which is the strongest. But for an acute problem, like for instance, cat throws up. Every time that it eats, it throws up right away. You give the remedy for an acute problem because it is a problem that just started. If the cat has had asthma attacks for the last 10 years and has been on prednisone for at least 6 of those or 8 of those years, then it would be a chronic problem. Okay? So what they do is, what a pharmacy does is, they take an herbal or a mineral solution. Homeopathy can be made from minerals, herbal, poisons, even from like the nosodes. They can be made from like I would say, so just for instance, sorinum. Sorinum is made from a flea portion of the dog that bites. So sorinum is really from animal. And every homeopathy remedy is made in the same way. However, they come from all different sources. So they make first a mother tincture. And the mother tincture is really like an herbal tincture. Okay? Like, for instance, if we were to take calendula, which is very good if you have infections or scrapes or whatever, you make a tincture by boiling the leaves and the flowers of the calendula flower, and you make a thick, really remedy, or not a remedy, but an herbal solution out of that. You add some alcohol with that to preserve it, and sometimes they also add like just a glycemic other tincture to it. But most of the time they just put alcohol to it. And then they take from that mother tincture, they take 1 drop and they put it into a glass, like a 2-ounce glass, 1 drop. They shake that real well. And then they take out of that, with that 1 drop, they take 1 drop again and put it into another glass with alcohol and water and shake that again. And they do that for like a 6C, they do that 600 times. 600 times. So now there is where the problem lies, that many people say, well, there is nothing of the solution, of the herbal solution or the mineral solution is left in the last of the remedies. And that is not so. And I explain that in a second again further. But so they keep doing that. So that's 6C. Now you sometimes see 6X, which is almost the same. The lower the denomination of it is, the least side effects or the least aggravations you can have. The higher they are, the more you have, the more aggravations you could have. So somebody who is not knowledgeable in homeopathy would not use a 200C or would not use a 1 LM or a 10 LM, because that would be way too strong. When I give it to my animals, I usually use 30C, usually, because I find 30C, most everything I can help with and ameliorate with 30C. But sometimes, like my little TC, it's a little black poodle who has all kinds of little allergies because he was very abused when he was from the shelter, and he had, apparently before he came to me, his life wasn't that great. His teeth are very bad, and now they are great, but still he has a weak immune system. So when I treat him, and once a year he gets this eczema that goes all over his body, and then I treat him with an LM potency because that's the only thing that works. But most of the time, 30C. So if you have a dog that comes in limping, you would go and treat the dog with a 30C arnica, because that would be the first line of defense. It's an acute problem. He didn't have the problem yesterday. He has the problem today. Treat him right away with that. Usually that fixes the problem immediately. If that does not fix the problem, then you have to go into it a little deeper and see what else is going on. Is there a cough or whatever? But that is how the remedies are made. Now, why are they made like that? And I think in the last show, I explained that already a little bit, that the smaller the amount of the mother tincture is, the more potent it is, because the more our system responds to it. Because water has a memory. I don't know if any of you have ever read the story of water. In Japan, there was a guy who did experiments with water, because everybody always said, well, water is nothing. There's nothing in it. Well, that's not so. Water has a memory, the memory of everything that is in it. And I certainly, for one, believe that many people who live in the city and who drink the refined water that has been, refined throughout all the sewer systems and so on, that often they get easier sick is because they drink that water. Be very careful of what kind of water you drink. Bottled water in those soft plastic bottles is not the ideal. And you cannot filter that because it's not a contaminant. You cannot filter. Water has memory. And anything this is what this guy in Japan did. What he did is he put the word love on a glass of water so that the written part was facing into the water. And then he put a drop of water of that under the microscope to see what it looked like. And it looked very beautiful. And then he put the word war onto a glass, and also with it facing in. And that droplet looked very disturbed, looked very different. It's a book that the man wrote. I will see if anybody is interested. I will dig it out of my huge library here. And I would have done it if I would have thought that I would talk about it, but it just seemed so opportune to talk about it. And you should really look into it. On the internet, there's quite a bit about water, memory of water, okay? So that is what homeopathy is using. Homeopathy is using that memory. So what we do is we give now, let's say I have 1 LM, I use 1 or 2 of these little tiny pills, and I put that into a glass of water, usually just 2 ounces. I stir it really well because that activates it. And then I give a teaspoon of that to my dog or my cat or my husband. My husband needs a remedy. Or to me, because I never ever take anything else but homeopathy. So if you have questions on that, that is just sort of like the synapse of it. And what I do is I use bottles like this, and I make it up either for my client right away with water, or I put the remedy in, and then I let my client put water in to about just before the neck, so that they can shake it really well. And you have to shake it, even hit it on your hand. It's called succussing, and that is what activates the remedy. It sounds silly, but it works. When I was a young homeopathist and I thought, oh, well, that's just, what, shaking it. It'll work, even if I don't shake it, right? Well, no, it didn't. When I did what I was told, the remedy worked much better. So when you have a remedy and you do use, and over the time I will give you more and more remedies, what you can do as an acute. Let's say, for instance, you wanted to use an arnica, you bought at Whole Foods a little vial of arnica. So take one pill. Don't use 5. They tell you to use 5 and put it in your mouth. Do not. Take one pill, put it in water, preferably into a glass or a bottle. Shake it real well, dissolve it real well. Take 1 teaspoon of it. And that is what, now once they have diluted the mother tincture into 600 little things, they do this by computer and with a machine, as I understand, because nobody could do this by hand. Then what they do is they have these little pellets, and these little sugar pellets. They spray this solution over these sugar pellets several times so that these little pellets are very saturated with the remedy. Then they dry it real well and put it into the little vials. Any questions on that?
Nope, nothing.
No? Okay. I hope everybody understands that. And because so now when you go and you buy a remedy, now you know of how that was made. Okay? I like to also talk a little bit about what animals, especially now in the fall, what their needs are. One of the things that I do see often is in the summertime, we know we shouldn't leave our dogs in the car because it can heat up very quickly. But come fall and winter, people are not quite so diligent, and I find that sad, because when you go, even if it's a cooler day and it was sunny out, and you open your car door, it's still pretty warm. And especially a dog who also, they are nervous. We call it hecheln. They breathe very fast. They generate more heat. So a small car can very easily get a little too warm. So be sure that you either not take your animal, or when you do take it, leave enough of a window open for the animal not to suffer in there. The other thing is also, many people have animals, and cats and dogs, and they have to work. We all have to work. And so animals are left hours and hours alone. Well, when you come home, it's not enough just to feed and to pet it. Go for a long walk. They need a lot of exercise. Every animal needs a lot of exercise. That makes them healthier. If you give them enough, my dogs are always, unfortunately, they run around too much often, and people get sort of like, there go your dogs again. But they have to have the exercise, because if they don't have the exercise, they do get lethargic. They do have mental problems too. And they get very upset if you don't. And that's why if you don't play enough with them and be outside with them, especially when the weather is as nice as it is hopefully being for the next few weeks. Another thing is ticks. Fall, when we've been very lucky here in the Northeast, because we haven't had too many ticks this year as yet, because it hasn't been too wet. But very likely we're going to get more wet weather, so now we're going to get more ticks. And that's what next show will be about, that we will talk more about Lyme disease, because ticks and Lyme is synonymous. And there are many misconceptions about it, and I hope to clear up some of them. I also would like to, not every tick is a Lyme disease tick. and not every tick has to be, you know, sometimes you can just pluck them off your animal and put a little calendula on it, on where the tick bite was, and that'll usually just work. But they are in the Northeast a menace. Lyme ticks are a menace. And we really need to talk about that more. And then I would like you to also get ready to tell me of what you would like me to talk about. I would like to talk about the subjects that interest you and that you would like to hear. If you would like to email me, you can email me at homeopath, the number 4, me at live.com. Homeopath, the number 4, me at live.com. I'll answer all your questions, and would love to hear what you would like me to talk about. It doesn't always have to be animals. I would like to talk also about what you can do to keep yourself healthy, because if you're not healthy, then you're not going to be much good to your animal, right? And so we are going into this beautiful Indian summer, and hopefully we will have a lot of enjoyment out of Friday evening listening to me. Do we have any more callers, Simon, or?
If you want to go more, that's okay.
Okay. Well, we started a little late,
Yeah.
so we are just a little longer. But you know, that is whatever you use. If you use homeopathy, if you use herbal remedies, always make sure that you do your homework before. Always make sure that you, if you do go to the vet and your vet says your animal needs all kinds of vaccinations, tell your vet, maybe not today, I'll make another appointment. Then go home and check on the internet. We are so lucky in this age. We have the internet with all that information, and you can check on everything. Make yourself smart. You are the caretaker of your animal, and they rely on you. And look, they give us so much enjoyment, and they give us so much love. So they deserve you to do a little homework and check out what the vet said. The vets are not evil. They don't want to hurt your animal, but they have a protocol, what they need to do and what they want to do. And you don't have to agree with that. Just because it is a veterinarian, it doesn't mean that you have to agree with that person. Use your own judgment. And with that, as always, I look so forward to next Friday when we have Lyme disease and maybe some other subjects that you might suggest. I'm always open. And if you email them to me beforehand, then I can give you concrete information on that. If you call in, I may be able to do that too, but maybe the information may not be quite as deep as you would like it. So email me beforehand of telling me of what you'd like me to talk about. I hope you have a pleasant evening and a fabulous weekend. And go out, take a nice walk with your dog. Bye for now.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Health In with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Lessons of Vietnam with NCVBI members, The Tanya Love Show, Your Healthy Pet with Gisela DiCarlo. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by Atomus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.